than romantic, to say the least. But at the same time, it's funny, 25 years ago most air shows were devoted to the future of flight, supersonic, hypersonic or whatever. And now today most of the air shows everywhere around the world deal with the past, deal with history. And probably this has a meaning, and the meaning is probably that we all, whomever we are, we all relish romance, romantic and pastimes, which weren't necessarily better than today, but in fact those pastimes explain so much about what we're living today that these events are important in understanding from where we come. It's a basic law in navigation. Whatever you navigate on sea or in air, if you don't know from where you come, it's very difficult to know where you go.
Or as Sir Arthur C. Clarke reminded us the other day when talking about Sammy B, those who forget history are destined to relive it.
Absolutely, and you have to learn the lessons, not to repeat them again. Mistake.
The Hurricane 2C, the Spitfire Mark 2A and the Lancaster Mark 1 of the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight take off in their graceful and sonorous fashion, and we'll see them back to do their full display in just a moment. The Lancaster. Now, if you're used to seeing the Lancaster displays, you might remember that when they come through for the second time, that they come through with the Bombay open. Bomb doors will be open, and the huge area of bomb coverage is visible. Well, not today, folks, because inside that Bombay are 1 million poppies, and those are going to be dropped down the Mall in London at shortly after 5 o'clock this afternoon. So no Bombay open because they can't refill it in time to get them down there. Nonetheless, you will still see the formidable underside of the Lancaster on this pass.
Lancaster was a different affair than flying a single-seater fighter like the Spitfire or Hurricane. This was a team effort first, you had a crew, and it's very important to remember that 60 years ago those aircraft were flown by young men, well, you could even say boys, from time to time. Most of them were in their early 20s or sometimes in the late 20s. They were 18, 19 years old kids flying these monsters, and again this is more a factory
Here down, of course, although a very big 4-engined aircraft, still a tailwheel aircraft, those two enormous main wheels underneath with big punchy and bouncy tyres, so if you don't get the landing quite right, you tend to be launched into the air again.
Landing the Lancaster was something considerably more difficult than landing a Hurricane. If only because you're sitting so high above the runway, you have mostly the land
So here we are, the Spitfire and the Hurricane coming in from the left to catch up with the Lancaster as he turns away from us, and they will then join up in formation, and I expect to see them come back in a final pass in front of us. Squadron Leader Paul Day, who used to be the commanding officer of the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight until recently, says, "A nation that fails to honour its fallen can expect little of the future. And I can think of no more appropriate and visible memorial than the most beautiful and evocative aircraft ever to grace the skies, secure in the BBMF's stewardship for many decades to come." Ladies and gentlemen, the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. See the Spitfires coming in and to the right. So 8 Spitfires perform in front of you. I don't think you would beat that sight anywhere. Interestingly, 2 different types of Spitfire. The ones immediately in front of us now, turning round, are the smaller Merlin-engined ones. And the ones that were closer to her as they went by are the big Griffon-engined ones.
The Griffons are incredibly fast, while the Merlins are real ballerinas of the sky.
The ballerinas, yes. They always refer to the Spitfire as a racehorse. I know there's one particular company who owns a Spitfire and a Hurricane, and they very rudely refer to their Hurricane as Dobbin. It's not quite a racehorse, but they're very fond of it nonetheless. So, coming in from the right now, the Griffon engine Spitfires, the big Spitfires. Yes, it did have 2 propellers on the front. We haven't seen that here before. It's 2 contra-rotating propellers. Still only 1 engine, but 2 propellers going in opposite directions, which means that the aircraft is actually much more stable when it's doing things like taking off. And as they all land, the Thunderbolt is performing above us, the escorting fighter that goes with these 2 B-17s.
The last Griffons.
The Griffons are flying by one last pass. The one that has the Griffons are not ready for their break yet. We're going to see the B-17s and their escort fighter display before us. Sally B in the lead, and Pink Lady second.
Celebi is the only surviving B-17 based in Great Britain, and Pink Lady is the one and only surviving B-17 based in the European continent, which is his base is in Paris, the Tory.
And of course the Flying Fortress, one of the most important United States warplanes of the Second World War. The groups of the 8th Air Force in Britain in early 1943, and the first aircraft came here to Duxford in April of 43. But turn your eyes half right now, and here come the bombers. The aircraft, the P-47, would be escorting protection from German fighters.
They were doing the daylight missions above Germany, and they, with the stablemates, the Liberators, B-24s, they really brought the battle to Germany. And the B-17s were flown by 10 crew, and again the average age of the American air crews was around 20-21 years old. Some of the captains were older than the others. They were 23 or 24 years old. Here comes a BBMF from the right. You have a feeling that both wheels are going to end up on each side of the runway, and you want to touch the first few yards of the runway, and then you chuck down the throttles and keep your feet working to keep it straight and put the tail down. And this is because you get maximum aerodynamic braking, and you don't stomp on the brakes too much because you don't want them to fade out or wear too quickly.
A couple of quick messages, ladies and gentlemen. Phil McCanna, the famous ghosts man, one of the great aviation photographers. Phil McCanna, please would you go to the pilot's tent as soon as you can. Phil McCanna to the pilot's tent. And Andy Knight, please go to the media centre, that's just by the control tower. Andy Knight to the media centre.
The noise of thunder. One of the four beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw. And behold, a white horse.
You discover that they are made with mostly common sense, and instead of putting technology to the forefront of aircraft design, they want the aircraft, it's the same airframe by the way, this one. They're slightly different, but not that much. The Yak 3, Yak 9 series of fighter and the Yak 11 are really delightful aircraft to fly. The only problem is landing speed. With so stubby and short wings, they come in very hot, and you have to take a good big deep breath before bringing it to land. There's pilots like him, they fly the world's latest equipment, hot jets like the Griffin, for instance.
fired manually by that person. Sorry, one of the 3 guns. There are also 2 guns in the wings as well. But there he's got the trousers down again.
Thanks. If you look closely to the B-17, the Saab B-17 when it's taxiing back, you will notice that it has some reminiscences of American designs like the Corsair. The tail unit, for instance, could have been designed by port engineers. The fact is, at the time, Saab people had imported some American brains to have them designed an up-to-date machine, which is new. And interestingly, if you compare this to another one very well known, British aircraft that reminds a little bit of the Ferry Battle, unfolded B-12 engine, so it's a bit in the same category.
A famous British aircraft, but a none too successful one.
Which was obviously not suited for the conditions of air combat at the time.
Quite so.
And here you see probably most of them do have their knees trembling a bit and their hands just jumping from throttle to buttons and switches. These people are lucky people. They are going to perform the flypast above the bow, above London, which means from now they're picking up from the end for maybe this carriage. They will fly across London. The Royal Air Force member on board. This flypast is really organized as a military mission, and our command during the war was a Frenchman. And so it's quite extraordinary to think that in the sky above one of the capitals of the world, we are going to have this incredible thing, an act of faith, I would say.
Well, actually, I mean, the last time they did something like this, the weather was as good as this. I mean, this is extraordinary. You know, there's almost unlimited visibility. You can see forever. And I can tell you from the experience of that last time, flying over London in those conditions, you could just see the whole thing. Absolutely out of this world. So,
Saliby is now taxiing the one and only British B-17 still flying is taxiing, followed by Pink Lady, the second and last Europe-based B-17. This one is from France.
What a last flight.
What a last flight. And Henry, who's flying it, is partly sad because of that, and at the same time is expecting about this.
Well, it's lovely to have these. We had them displaying here last year at the show, if you remember, Bernard. They were wonderful, weren't they?
Wonderful aircraft.
And so we shall see them depart in a moment. And they're going to be a very important part of the fly past. I think we'll only see 4 of them come back, actually.
Yeah. What is extraordinary with these old aircraft is that they are all different from each other. They have signatures, they have looks, they have sounds. They behave in the sky. They are not just like modern equipment, which of course is fantastically efficient and superb in terms of performance. But most of these modern aircraft are pretty much the same.
in the corner of Henry Labouchere's eye.
Absolutely.
And next we see the Ansons take off, I believe?
Yeah, the
Lockheed first.
flown by Robert Fex and Jacques Suire, and with on board a squadron leader from the Royal Air Force, which is going to do navigator's duties, but we put him on the right seat, and frankly he's going to do most of the flying. He deserves it. After all, that's his sky. The Lancaster taxiing now from the left, and he's going to get in front of you. Sections are taking off at 2 minutes intervals.
And here goes the Lancaster with its precious load.
The poppies. The poppy bomber. Here comes the Spitfire, the symbol of all this. And here comes the Hurricane. You will note that the Spitfire and the Hurricane from the Battle of the St. Memorial flight will be the only single engine aircraft to fly above London today.
And I bet it does your heart good to see the blue, white and red on the rudder.
Sure it does.
So we shall see the whole Balbo fly by. Nobody will depart the formation, but here it is. You don't see this anywhere else. Look at that fantastic formation.
And listen.
In the front, the Tiger Cat, Hellcat, Wildcat and Corsair, followed by the P-47, Corsair and Sky Raider. 3 P-51s after that. Those 3 P-51s followed by 2 more P-51s and the Yak-3, then Spitfires, two sections of Spitfires, and at the back Hurricanes and P-39. A quite extraordinary formation.
And the Joker.
23 aeroplanes went by there, ladies and gentlemen. And they don't get to practice that much either.
No, once a year.
First section of the Balbo. The remaining first section.
Yes, think about the mechanics 60 years ago. They were waiting for their aircraft to return here. There's a saying in French aviation, I don't know if you use it in England, but an aircraft is never owned by its pilot, it's owned by its mechanic.
Indeed. And I remember a lovely cartoon, a wartime cartoon of this gentleman, a long RAF moustache, having just climbed out of his Hurricane with bullet holes all over it, bits of it hanging off, and he's saying to his mechanic, slightly shaky old do. Jug, Corsair and Sky Raider.
Mustang.
Hi, Matt. Is carrying to Easter Hall.
Two Mustangs and a Yak. beautiful doll with the flickering spinner on the front of the Mustang. I beg your pardon, it's Twilight's here with the black and white alternate colours of the spinner, so it flickers as it goes by. And there's a Corsair folding its wings to get into a small gap. They do crazy things in the Navy, don't they?
I've always wondered how you can have confidence in, you know, the pins which are holding the wings together when you fold them down, and which carry all the loads, the bending loads, horrendous loads imposed upon the wings. Hey, Charlie Brown is being applauded there.
Yes, the moustache is walking in.
Yeah, and the big
In
cap.
good form.
And yes, the pins holding the wings down are not much thicker than a little finger. And of course it's high resistance steel and whatever, but whatever you might say, when you look at it, you just have a feeling of insanity. mph or something like that.
The Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, the Lancaster, having delivered its load of 1 million poppies in commemoration of the dead of the Second World War, delivered its poppies onto the Mall.
And they're back to the station right on time. Turn right.
And you can see that the bomb doors of the Lancaster are open.
The elements are coming back from London in reverse order from the one they took out. Each element, each section had a very intricate trajectory to follow.
So Sally B is landing.
Sally B.
Andrew Dixon, Jim Jewell.
And taxiing on his leg, getting back to the pilot's tent, is Brian Smith. I wonder if some of them are short on fuel. Who knows?
But the coastal formation is now pulling in behind the landing aircraft.
Here comes a coastal with one Lockheed, 2 Ansons and 1 Catalina.
Returning home to break over the home aerodrome.
They're in minus 10. Or even finger 4, but the fourth finger is
Finger 3.
finger 3 plus 1. The big one, the last finger.
Echelon port, you could call that.
And after these ones, we're expecting the
sure it's naval or it's army, but it's not more than. Actually, we saw the station commander of Conningsby flying the Hurricane this morning. The BSME term station commander is now abbreviated to the station.
Here comes the Lockheed.
And the they are flying.
Could have been.
You could have been flying it.
Yeah, sure.
Mhm.
But, I mean,
And then we wouldn't have had the benefit of your erudition here today.
thank you.
We'd have lots of flying.
But,
Those Andersons are just going to do a low overshoot, I think, because
Yeah.
they're probably not landing.
they're going back to their station.
Back to their station. Well done. That's beautiful, isn't it?